It's time for good energy in. Welcome to Bodyful Day 276. We are on day 4 of shoulder pain and the senses, and today we're talking about the sense of smell. So how are we going to work sense of smell into shoulder pain? Well, we're going to revisit an oldie but goodie. We're going to talk about the gating theory of pain. But before we do that, let's go ahead and do our usual. Take a deep breath in and release. On this next deep breath in, you want to expand in the belly, expand in the chest, expand in the sinuses, and tuck your tail a little bit. Take a deep breath in and release. And last deep breath in, we're going to talk about the sense of smell. Now, there are ways we can work smell in, and I want you to just think about times when you've smelled stuff that you already had a pain, and you smelled stuff that didn't smell good and it made the pain worse. And I can just imagine shoulder pain and like smelling raunchiness and just not baby diapers maybe. Go ahead and take a deep breath in and release. All right, so today we're talking about how to get energy to heal your shoulder equals good energy in minus stressors. And we're going to talk about it in terms of the sense of smell. How can the sense of smell be a stressor? How can it lead to good energy in? And the sense of smell is a very interesting one. We've already talked about this. The sense of smell goes right from the brain. It's a bulb right from the brain. So it doesn't have to go through a number of receptors and back up to the brain. It really is just a little bit of part of the brain that descends into the top of your sinuses. And that is your brain interacting with the world. And so it is very interesting to think about the fact that the sense of smell can do a lot of things. If you have a headache and you smell something that does not smell good, it will exacerbate. It will make that headache worse. The same thing goes for shoulder pain. If you have excruciating shoulder pain, and shoulder pain, remember, it can go from the cranials all the way down to the sacrum. And so anywhere in there can cause shoulder pain. It just so happens in the region between about C2, so about here, well actually C1 to about T3 or 4, sometimes T10, but T3 or 4 mainly, can lead to shoulder pain with nausea, because that sort of indicates a little bit of the nausea region. A lot of people, if they get pain in T2 or rib 2, which is part of shoulder pain, rib 2 in the back, it will actually trigger nausea type responses. So imagine having that type of shoulder pain that when you get a worse smell just amplifies it and makes things much worse. So that is the stressor of smells, is the fact that the sense of smell really is just wired in there, that it can make anything that's worse depending upon what you're smelling. And that could be really bad body spray from the guy who sits next to you at work. It could be the woman that wears that very cloying perfume that you stand next to at church. It could be any of these, but they can trigger an increase in your sense of pain, or they can trigger the nausea that comes with it, that comes with intense pain. So how can we use the sense of smell to provide good energy in for shoulder pain? Well, we're going to revisit this concept of the gate theory, or gating theory of pain perception. And in gating theory, all of the information comes from the receptors in the body. So you have pain receptors in your muscles, you have pain receptors in your joints. They are going to be you have pain receptors in your tendons, and they are going to be telling you a combination of information that says, hey, this shoulder is in pain. Now, what the sense of smell can do, and the concept behind the gating theory, is that you can provide sensory information in another format that will actually diminish the pain information coming from those receptors, so that when they get up to the brain, they are less intense. Now, you can do that with the sense of smell. You can activate your sense of smell more so that it inhibits a lot of this sensory information. We've talked about it in terms of touch. We've talked about daddy rubbies or head rubbies. Those are all ways of producing a similar type stimulus that actually provides the most amount of inhibition. So getting a cut and then rubbing around it, that rubbing around it actually provides more inhibitory or gating component than activating the sense of smell. But you can activate the sense of smell to do what we've talked about, to gate the pain from that shoulder. And so what you can do is you can look into those smells that you really like. The smell of fresh baking bread, the smell of donuts, the smell of citrus, the smell of rosemary, of lavender, of you name it. Whatever scent is out there that you associate. Again, we're going back to that top-down approach. That top-down approach, whatever scent you associate with good energy in, can actually be used to block that pain. Now, there are also oils that are really good for pain, especially for inflammation, chronic inflammation. Citrus oils are good for chronic inflammation, so you can put those directly on. But we're talking about how can the sense of smell reduce. So menthol is another one. So the reason why icy hot is so good is that it has a menthol component that is both icy and hot, which causes, again, a gating response as well as a reduced pain response from places that you have pain. But citrus also works really well in terms of chronic inflammation that may result in a shoulder pain issue. So we can use sense of smell, but not to actually get in and fiddle with shoulder pain like we can with the kinesthetic, like we can with the vestibular, like we can with the sense of taste. But we can use it to fiddle with the receptor information going back up to the brain, so that in terms of our equation, we're using the sense of smell to provide good energy in, but what we're really doing is we're reducing the amount of information coming from our stressor. Our stressor before the sense of smell was this big, and then after the sense of smell, our stressor actually shrunk. Did it shrink? And so the interesting way to think about that is that the stressor actually shrunk. It shrunk. You didn't do anything to it. All you did was say, hey, nerves, we don't want you to be so sensitive, so we're going to give you something else to focus on. And in doing so, they shrunk your stressor. Yeah, you got a little bit of good energy in from the scent you like so much, but in that process, it actually shrunk the stressor information that was coming in. So that's the cool thing about the gating hypothesis, is the gating hypothesis doesn't say that you're getting rid of the pain, because you aren't. The pain is still there. But what you are doing is you're reducing the amount of space and the amount of energy that the brain has to deal with it by providing additional good energy in. All right, so that is today when we talk about shoulder pain and the sense of smell. We have 3 left, which will include the kinesthetic sense, the sense of touch, and hearing. So join me for the next 3 days. We'll cover the rest of shoulder pain and the senses. I hope you're having a great day. Take a deep breath in and release. And I'll see you back here tomorrow. Take care.